And good morning. It is a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. I'm Glenn. He's Griffin. And if it's Friday, that means the Chief Grand Poobah. No, not yet. We'll get there, I promise. We need his mic on, though. We do need that.
A bar.
I forgot where I was.
A bar.
Close. Hang tight. I promise it's coming. Promise.
Stand back and stand by.
Oh, God. Stan had his Wheaties this morning. Stan the Fan Charles here in studio with us, as he does every Friday on GCR.
The same tired jokes every week.
Hey, man.
I like that one.
That was definitely new. That was definitely new material, no doubt about it. Coming up on the program today, we'll continue to meet members of the Ravens draft class. Fifth-round pick Rasheen Ali, fifth-rounder out of Marshall, running back.
The Thundering Herd.
That's correct. A bar.
At the Thundering Herd.
We'll catch up with Rasheen Ali. We'll preview Orioles Diamondbacks, former Orioles pitcher, now Diamondbacks Spanish broadcaster, Rodrigo Lopez is going to join us this morning once again. And also later on in the program, we'll make a trip to Aberdeen to catch up with Orioles prospect Creed Willems. All of that coming up on the program today.
Can I ask a question? You know, I come in once a week in here.
Yes.
Right? Is there did I lose a bet or something? I mean, I got this X.
Oh, we need new
windscreen.
windscreens. Yeah, we need new windscreens. That's a fact. We should have had you do that while you were at Guitar Center, actually.
Yeah.
We should have.
That's the place.
We need a whole new. We could just order them on Amazon. You're in charge of that. We need new windscreens.
Okay.
It's been like, it has been years at this point that we have not ordered new windscreens.
That's Glenn Clark's spittle.
That's exactly what that is. That's exactly,
it's the worst I've seen since I worked behind Les Consalvi.
By the way, that might be the same windscreen that I used when we started Glenn Clark Radio.
Well, we have to keep that one.
Which was, you think that one's got
that
some,
should be
we should hang that on the wall?
And it's orange.
Yeah,
it fits up there with the Never Lose Ever.
10 years ago. 10 plus years ago.
Like right here. I think that's where that was.
Yeah. That's might be the same windscreen. So yeah, we need new windscreens. We got to prioritize that.
I saw a new one. There's one out there.
Well, grab it at some point when you
want
find
it.
it.
Right now?
Well, whenever stop, settle down.
That one's used not much, Stan. So I think you.
All right. Let's get into the show.
You can
Let's
make
do
that
that.
one yours.
Let's do that. Today's show. You can put your own spittle on it. Today's show brought to you by Atman's Deli in Harbor Point. It's everything you love about the original Atman's Deli, a Baltimore institution. Plus now they've got it.
Thundering Herd.
Yes.
Okay.
A bar.
And a bar. I think Rasheen Ali would love it at the all-new Atman's Deli in Harbor Point.
I asked Rasheen, is Rasheen Ali related to Muhammad Ali?
Not that I'm aware of.
Could he be the son of
Layla? I don't think
Layla?
so. I don't
No.
think that maths quite. But actually, now that I think about it, Layla's
She's probably 40.
You're probably right. It might be more like 43.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that's the case. No. He's from Cleveland, or the Cleveland area, Rasheen Ali.
Don King was from Cleveland.
That is true. That is true. We can just name Cleveland things if you'd like. That's one of my favorite bits
Rock
now.
and Roll Hall of Fame.
The rapper MGK is from Cleveland.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, Machine Gun Kelly.
That's where the original Mike Douglas show was from Cleveland.
Johnny Holiday began his broadcasting career in Cleveland. Yeah.
New Art Modell.
That's
a little bit.
100% accurate. We can just keep doing this if you like. This is a game that I suggested to Griffin some time ago, that we just tertiarily name things that are related to a subject and see how long we can go, and then we crown someone king of Cleveland.
The Paul brothers are from Cleveland.
Jake and Logan Paul.
Yes.
So is professional wrestler The Miz.
Oh.
The Miz is from Cleveland. Bet you didn't know that.
No.
Bet you didn't know
Never
that.
even heard of the Miz.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
Missing
out
out.
of-
Stan,
I've
you were
been
missing
out of
out.
that loop.
Mike Mizanin, the former star of MTV's The Real World, then became a professional wrestler, and he's had quite the career for himself. Yeah. You didn't see that
I
coming.
think Josh Charles was once in Cleveland.
You think he visited once? Okay, I'll accept that, I guess, as a point. Their river caught.
One of the stars of The Veil.
That's correct. Absolutely, their river caught fire once.
I've never been to Cleveland.
Okay, look at us.
Yep.
We are really killing it here in Cleveland. Bone Thugs and Harmony from Cleveland.
What's a famous food from Cleveland? You have Chicago pizza, Detroit
Yeah,
pizza.
it's a big Polish community, if I remember correctly. So, like, that's that's sort of, I think the pierogies are kind of are kind of big in Cleveland. But yeah, you don't really associate any particular food stuff with Cleveland necessarily. Of course, you know what, Griffin. This is going to be what legendary holiday film was set and partially filmed in Cleveland. Iconic holiday film.
Let's go with Wonderful Life.
It's not It's a Wonderful Life. Stand the bench.
Is it that sort of ilk, like
it is,
time period?
It's been a while. It's I mean, the folks in
it's not one of the ones with like Chevy Chase. Or
it's
something.
Not a Christmas Vacation. No.
Okay.
It is not Christmas Vacation.
A Christmas Story.
A Christmas Story
Yes,
was
there it is.
1,000% set in Cleveland.
Darren
On Cleveland
McGavin?
Street. Yes,
Darren
exactly
McGavin?
right. Ah, bump kisses.
He's
He's no
listed
longer
as a. He's never listed in the credits
Really?
of that movie.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Halle Berry
What?
from Cleveland. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's I thought you were trying to put her.
410 Byron.
Oh,
But,
thank you,
but the
Byron.
Orioles are playing the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I'm not really
Why
sure.
are we spending? Oh, because
Rasheen Ali's from Cleveland.
Yes.
This started, by the way, with our read for. We were talking. About,
we never got through the commercial.
we never.
Because you went off, you veered off.
Well, I think
Ali
you
would
went
really
to the
like
Thundering
that.
Herd. It was
Yeah.
a whole thing.
Anyway,
Yeah.
they got a
Atman's
bar
Deli
down
definitely
there. They got
has
a bar
and all the
and
delicious
it's a great
food that you love at
place
Atman's.
to hang out for an O's game.
AtmansDeli.com.
Tonight might be a good night because it could be a little.
Might be waiting it out for a little while.
Waiting it out for a little while.
We'll find that out in a second. You can visit the Christmas Story house still in
Can you?
Cleveland. I made Patrick Stevens and I went out
I
to.
think I was thinking of Christmas Story first, but for some reason, Wonderful
said
Life.
It's a Wonderful
came
Life instead.
first. Yeah,
We went out to a Jim Thome. It was nice of the Guardians one day honored Orioles legend Jim Thome with a bobblehead
Why'd they do
during
that?
an Orioles.
during an Orioles.
It was the Indians at the time. It wasn't the Guardians. But we went out for the weekend, and I went to the tennis tournament in Cincinnati. Then we went to a Reds game, and then we went to Cleveland for the Indians game against the Orioles. And, I'd stopped by, and I made my pilgrimage to the Christmas Story house while we were there. So that was cool. All right.
Is the lamp still
prominently on display, yes. And you can get the number. Bump kisses. I could do Darren McGavin all day. The Darren McGavin, of course, also in The Natural. You are in control, right, Slugger?
Remember his first TV series?
No.
Of course not. Riverboat.
I don't remember Riverboat at all.
Sounds
I don't
fun.
remember Riverboat even a
Let me
little
see
bit.
if I'm correct.
Yeah, right. And we're going to find out. Stan's
No,
just
bro.
making it up. Just guessing.
Probably right.
Might very well
He
be.
played the captain of a riverboat.
I believe
fun
you.
show.
I believe you. I'm just not familiar with it.
TV series.
Yeah, this is a dramatic moment now. Does Stan know his Darren McGavin history?
It was definitely a real show.
Okay, we
I
got
would
that.
guess
And Darren
1964, 66.
Darren McGavin co-starred alongside.
I have no idea.
Let's
Stan?
see. Hold on a second.
That's correct. Burt Reynolds.
That was my guess.
Darren McGavin and Burt. I did not remember Burt Reynolds.
Now
in that
let's
show.
name Florida
There-
State things.
There's a riverboat.
Riverboat. I bet I would enjoy Riverboat.
It
Darren
was-
McGavin
it's
and Burt
listed
Reynolds.
as 1959.
Oh,
Wow, I was off on that.
If it involves Darren McGavin and Burt Reynolds, it's probably something that I would enjoy because
Yeah, he also starred the Aquanauts.
who knew? Who knew? All right, two things really quickly.
Yes.
You bring it up before we get to Orioles Diamondbacks. It is time for my favorite segment of the day. I asked Griffin, will the weather mess with tonight's baseball game? And
Yeah, probably.
yeah, he just looks out the window and tells me what the
doesn't
weather
look
is
good.
right now.
It doesn't look good. It's pretty windy.
Yeah.
It's very rainy. It's not like hard rain right now.
Right.
So like, I feel like if they had to, but the fact that they're going to be in town for 2 more days,
Right.
they're probably not too inclined to get it in right now.
Yes, but I don't know
What
that
about
David
the fact it's an Apple game? Does that
that is
impact it
interesting.
again?
probably does
And it
impact how
impacts.
hard.
Isn't the start time different for Apple game? I mean, in other
It's
words,
still 7:05.
aren't we 6:35 on Fridays
I
too?
thought-
when it's not Apple.
I thought it was 7 on
Yeah.
Friday.
We're all 7:05?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was 7 on Friday.
6:30 Monday through Thursday.
So looking at the weather forecast, because
Yeah.
Griffin just wants to tell you what the
That's a
weather
little
is right
bit
now.
more exact.
The rain.
Well, look outside right now.
The
That's nothing
rain
more exact than that.
remains. Remains.
Who knows what would happen?
in the forecast through 10 o'clock tonight. So it just sort of becomes a question of how much they want to get tonight's game in for not only Apple reasons, but also
How about for David Rubenstein
going out and doing the splash thing, and is he around for the weekend if they were to try to move it to a day?
And knowing that I can't go tomorrow to get the bobblehead.
That is probably very important to them. They got to be thinking about that there. They're not off on Monday, right?
They do.
No, they play 3 games against Toronto
That's right.
Monday, Tuesday,
That's right, because they got the
Wednesday.
field trip day is Wednesday. Yeah, so presumably they're inclined to play the game this weekend at some point. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, and it'll also obviously interesting to see how hard the rain is and whether or not they feel like they can play through the raindrops tonight. We will see, but not encouraging as you look at either outside or the forecast for this evening. Speaking of not encouraging, Stan, obviously the topic du jour in Baltimore this week, it's not quite a quarterback controversy, which is obviously always the best thing that can happen for talk radio.
Second best thing is a closer controversy.
No doubt about it. Closer controversy in Baltimore. As of Wednesday night, Brandon Hyde said they're still sticking with Craig Kimbrel. Of course, that's probably what he would say no matter what the thought process is, because you don't want to undress your guy that's on your team right there in the public. I guess let's walk through every aspect of it. Where are you at this point with what the Orioles should be doing as far as closing games?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I wrote this when they signed them, and I wrote it this week, and I was frankly stunned after last Friday night when Craig Kimbrel came in and blew the Reds away. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is after 4 days of uncertainty, a little bit whether he would need to go on the IL and what are we going to do without him and who can step up. And then all of a sudden, you got a real good performance by Bauman one night, and you got 2 good performances by Jake Webb. And you had Suarez was available by Saturday to come in and try and close the game. I was stunned that they went right back to him. You know, last year, at the age of 34 and 35, Craig Kimbrel threw 69 innings, which was the most innings he's thrown since 2018. You know what pace he was on a week ago when they faced the Pirates? He was on the pace to throw 80-some innings. You have to get – I understand once the games start, that game – the result of that game when you have a chance to win is mightily important. But I really thought they would understand that, hey, we got to figure this out. Somebody else has got to be available to get some saves here.
So I guess my thought would be he had thrown 16 pitches in a week, right? Like that because he hadn't been used Monday through Thursday of that week, right? Like for a week he had thrown 16 pitches. Right. I would say I can hear that argument, but at the same time, I feel like that kind of is you saying he's not really a closer.
No, he's a closer that you have to be after you've just had an injury issue that was significant enough to cost them 2 games against the Oakland A's. To me, I'm not going back to back with him, despite the fact he only threw 16 pitches. I want to see how he responds the next day after that rather than put him right back out there. I thought it was foolish, and now I think the thing has gone to his head a little bit, which is the place you don't want it to go to with the closer. But Craig Kimbrel's been around for a long, long time. He is a Hall of Fame closer. I think he will come back and pitch well for the Orioles. But, again, they have got to address having somebody, and I understand, I think the game plan going into the season was, hey, we'll have Tyler Wells in that role back, and him and Cano can spot in, as the closer once in a while. They've got to figure it out, and I thought that the best person last Saturday night, in light of how he pitched against the Yankees, was Jake Webb in that ball game.
I mean, Jake Webb has certainly given them very good innings. It got a little hairy the other night, obviously, but it was a little hairy for everybody the other night, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a mess for everybody involved.
Yeah.
The kind of the twofold feeling that I have is, if you have to, and I don't want what the term is. I don't want to say kid gloves because that's not what it is.
You have to parcel his innings out.
If that's the case, then the inability for someone to be a workhorse, I do think impacts the mentality of what having a closer does for a team, right? Like the idea that this is the eternal argument that baseball people will have, right? That like, hey, anybody could pitch the ninth inning, you know, like it. You never invest too much in
until you put the guy out there that has the game on the line,
and that's where the mental side of having a closer ends up having great value, which is to a team to believe that all you got to do is win 8 innings. You win 8 innings and you're winning the baseball game.
Right.
That's the way that it goes. So if you can't use your closer as a workhorse, it does to me detract from the mental aspect of the value of a closer, right? Like that if you can't count on that.
Ideally, I'd love to have a 29-year-old Craig Kimbrel. They knew what they signed up for last year. You know, Mike Elias is not an idiot, okay? He saw how ineffective Craig Kimbrel was last year,
in
last
the
2
playoffs
months,
in particular, yeah.
the last 2 months of the season. And it was after he was overused. And I think using him up in April, where he's on a pace to throw 80 innings, when the most he's thrown was the previous season, 69 in 6 years, and he fizzled at the end of the year, I think it was really very poor handling. And I think a multitude of teams that look, Mason Miller, as fantastic as he is, they have to parcel his innings out, and he's 23 years old because of his injury history. They're using Louis Urseg for games to close out games. They're using somebody else blew a save for them the other night. So
I don't know who it was. I'm not.
You know, it's ideal to get a workhorse closer. We had a workhorse closer last year, and how did that work out?
Right, yeah. When you lose them, and that's where you're at. I completely understand that.
I think it's much smarter to go in, especially when the guy's 35, going to be 36 in 3 weeks, to say, we need to keep his innings around 55 innings. You know, we need to parcel his innings out more strategically, and all that really requires is being creative to know who the second guy's going to be that you're going to trust. And again, they had the confluence of events of Bautista's sudden injury where they know he's going to be missed the whole year. The market's not replete with guys out there that you're going to spend. So they got a solid guy, not a spectacular guy anymore. And I think solid is what you're talking about. He's not going to be that guy that's out there every night.
And that, to me, is, I think it's a twofold argument. One, when they signed Craig Kimbrel, my argument was I'm okay with signing Craig Kimbrel to be part of the story, but not to be the guy that you're relying on as being the guy.
Again, I think that's where they got kind of bitten in the ass by the Bradish and Means thing. I think they went through the winter months, and there still were guys like Ryan Stanek out there. But I think then you got into the situation where the club really didn't have the money to go out. And I really mean that. I think it's different now. I think if Mike Elias goes to David Rubenstein and says, we need a $5-6 million guy, I think he's going to say,
go ahead and
go do it, you know. And I think they will address it, you know. The internet now is replete with articles about who we're going to get. Jonathan Helsley from the Cardinals, and then it was what was the other deal?
Jim Bowden suggested
it was two guys,
not Clase, the other two relievers from Cleveland, Gaddis
and Cade Smith.
Correct. And suggested that he believes that either one of them could be a closer. They just don't get the opportunity because they're in Cleveland, where they have a more of a workhorse closer in that situation.
Gaddis against the Atlanta Braves did not, and I have him on my fantasy team, came in 2 nights against the Atlanta Braves in the 8th inning and blew it both times.
Not encouraging. Not encouraging. No question about it.
Not that he can't be. You know, and remember, last year he was a starting pitcher.
Right. Correct. And look, I think there is no question that they're going to be in the market for relief arms come July.
No question.
I think the question is,
I don't think they should wait until July. the key to this is Tyler Wells, and we don't
No,
hear any great reports
yeah, it
that
does not. The timeline does not seem great for Tyler Wells' return.
Why wait a month now? The Bauman spot needs to be somebody that's better than Bauman.
And I guess the argument for waiting would be like, for example, if it's say Finnegan or
Hunter Harvey.
Yeah, then you need the Nationals to be out of it, and they're not out of it at the moment, right? Like they're still very much in it. Now you could look to Miami, and obviously Miami is already ready to start making trades and trade everyone, but there's only a few of those teams that are ready to trade everyone at this point.
Right.
You need a few other teams to be in on the market in order to sort of set what the market is for a reliever. To the point, like it's we can have fun talking about Mason Miller all we want. It's not going to be Mason Miller. We just can't kid ourselves into believing that there is a world where it would make sense for the Orioles to pay the price that it would cost in order to acquire Mason. Everybody's very excited about Mason Miller because he's doing things that we haven't seen pitchers do. But Mason Miller's cost is so astronomical, it's not worthy of the conversation, much like we talked about with Emmanuel Clase this offseason. That, like, the idea that these teams are just going to give guys up for the sake of giving guys up is nonsense. Their value is too extraordinarily high in Miller's case because of all the control, in Clase's case because of a contract that's extraordinarily favorable.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not giving these guys up the way that you want teams to give guys up. So do you want to pay that? You really want to dip the toes into, Basayo plus Kerstad plus for a relief arm for someone who everybody else is going to say their arm might fall off again at some point soon? It's just not reasonable. So, yeah, the names like Finnegan become a bit more reasonable in this conversation. But until that point, what are you doing?
Emmanuel Clase is making $2.5 million. He signed a 5-year. Whoever his agent is.
Yeah,
was
right.
Griffin? Was Griffin his agent?
It's
part-time?
bonkers.
Yeah.
It's bonkers.
I mean, he does weather on the side.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Maybe he picked up. No, it's nuts. Like, when that name came up in the offseason, I was like, hell yeah, let's talk about Emmanuel Clase. And then I went and looked at the deal, and I said, what? Like, what in the world is that? He's under contract for 2 more years at such an absurdly low number that there's no reason for the Guardians to give him up for anything less than
an arm and a leg.
Correct. And they're also not out of it, and not likely that they're going to be out of it, in part because that division is nobody's going to end up running away with it. So there's no reason for them to be making that type of trade. Again, unless you want to give up, you want to pay a king's ransom for a relief arm, and overwhelmingly baseball minds would tell you you should not be giving up a king's ransom for any relief arm.
I would think in the short term what I'd want to see is how Webb and Suarez do, and it doesn't have to be closing games. You could save Cano to try and save games right now. And I have to admit, the one bright side of this is Cano has come back to me where I've got a lot of faith in him.
I do.
Whereas the second half of last year and coming into this season, I was saying, well, that looked like smoke and mirrors the first half.
Right.
He's looked really terrific. So you could have him and Kimbrel close games right now. I'd want to see what Suarez and Webb could do in the 7th and 8th innings.
Suarez's whiff rate obviously is, he's not going to be humping it up there the way that some of these late inning guys are, but his whiff rate is certainly enticing.
Well, and also what happens when you're not pacing yourself for 5-6 innings, when you're only in for an inning, you can amp it up a little bit more.
I don't know that that's going to go more past like 96 for him at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's probably about the top end for Suarez, but still, like, he's making pitches.
He's got the disposition too that just seems like I'd feel comfortable.
It's
with
interesting, right? Like,
it just seems nothing. When
like
you're
I've kind of been through everything.
Yeah,
what the hell
I've
does
pitched
it?
in Korea.
Right.
I've pitched in Mexico.
The hell does
I've
it
pitched
matter
in
if
Baltimore.
I happen to have one ball get turned around and go the other way? Is that going to be the end of my?
Right.
Gosh, I'm not uninterested.
And he makes less than Emmanuel Clase,
which is almost impossible to do, all things being equal.
What if it came out that the Orioles are paying him more than Clase's only making 2.5?
It's insanity
this year.
It? It's utterly insanity. They gave up arbitration. He gave up arbitration in order to sign a deal that pays him next to nothing with 2 club options to take him through. Like, and again, the club options only get up to $10 million.
Right.
Like at the top end, he's
When's
making
his
$10
deal
million.
end?
The deal is through 2028, but the
2028.
club options are 27 and 28.
Maybe the Orioles could extend him for a couple of years.
Try to give him some real money in order to pull it off. It is bizarre, man, that whole Class A situation. Yeah, I'm inclined at this point to say,
I mean, you're not suggesting that they jettison,
no.
suddenly release Craig Kimbrel.
No, it's absurd. We had people calling into the radio show the other day doing that bit. I'm like, what?
Right.
What in the world is that? No.
I mean, did any of these people that say that see him last Friday night?
Yeah, he looked great,
fantastic.
right? He looked phenomenal.
And he looked while one ball was hit hard Saturday night, I think.
Yeah.
He was in command of the game until there were 2 outs.
And it's the odd, I feel like, walks that you can but you can tell from his temperament that he's
miffed by it. Yeah.
It's not just miffed, like he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah. Like
you could tell that it's I don't know why it is that I'm missing so badly in these spots.
Right.
I have said a number of times. I remember a year ago before Felix Bautista hurt, I wanted them to be in the Josh Hader market, right? Because, look, you get into the playoffs, you need more than one closer. That's the way it works. In the playoffs, you're going to get to the 5th inning, and you're going to find yourself in a spot, and you're going to need someone that can go into a dangerous spot and get a big out. And I'm of the opinion that Craig Kimbrel can have value to this baseball team. It's just that it's not in that workhorse closer capacity. So I'd be looking for, how can I use him as a leverage arm? Sometimes perhaps being the 9th inning guy, sometimes.
Right.
But I do think that
nothing wrong with giving him what would appear to be a mental breather to come in when it's 3-0 in the 7th inning and just have a good inning so that then when you want to use him the next night or 2 nights later in the 9th, he's got a positive disposition.
My inclination to use Cano as the primary guy right now is more based around the idea of you now have the opportunity for 3 months, the better part of 3 months, to figure out if perhaps you've got a workhorse closer on your roster. And if you do, then it changes to me what it is that you're looking for at the trade deadline, right? If you could go to Cano today, and he can handle the workload and his temperament in the 9th inning.
The workload does not appear to be an issue with
certainly
him,
does not appear to be an issue. I agree with that.
He's got one of those arms. And it's funny, it's a racial type of thing. It seems like the Latina pitchers, a lot of them can just throw all day, every day.
I'd have to look into that.
Historically, I'm older than you.
I get it.
Trust me. It goes back to the players like Tion. They just could pitch inning after inning after inning.
So I would be inclined to give Cano the primary role now, more to do with, can I solve that part of this equation?
That's an interesting notion.
Because if I can, then it's less of a premium that you have to pay at the deadline for whatever it is that you're looking for. Instead, you're just looking for one more relief arm, not one guy that you're counting on to be the guy at the back end of the bullpen.
That's a very well reasoned out.
It's not a trashing Craig Kimbrel thing. It's a Craig Kimbrel I still think can be helpful for this baseball team.
Yeah, I think he can too.
It's just that I want to see if I have a workhorse type of end-of-the-game guy, and Cano is the guy on the team that makes the most sense to me. Now, there was a story a couple weeks ago, apparently, that he said he didn't like pitching in the 9th inning, so that matters, right?
Matter.
Like, if it's something that he's not going to handle well, then you're not going to do it.
Right.
Would I maybe be inclined to give Suarez the chance? I don't feel as strongly about that because of the stuff, but I'd still maybe want to take a look at it to try to get that answer. To me, it's about trying to figure out what you have to do at the deadline, and if you can solve the problem internally before then, that's a huge plus for this baseball team. So I'd be inclined to do it with the idea that if it doesn't work out, maybe a month from now, you're mentally reset, you can go back to Craig Kimbrel and see where Kimbrel is at that point. If, it just gives him the opportunity to sort of reset a little bit. And that
month also buys you the lack of intense use of his arm.
Correct.
where he could come possibly and give you 6-7 weeks of being
more helpful, right?
More helpful.
100%. So that's my inclination is Cano would be the guy for me. I would want to scratch that itch. I would just say, look, I want to get an answer on this.
Mm-hmm.
Could Cano be the guy?
My only fear with Cano is they will become so reliant on him because he's so pitchable.
Sure.
That they will overuse him. So I would be more. I would slightly adjust. I would not pitch Kimbrel back-to-back days. That doesn't mean Kimbrel can't throw 3 games in a week. It just means I'd be more careful, and I'd have Cano close some games, and I would not have a problem trying Suarez once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to considering Suarez as a leverage guy in general. I'm not opposed. I guess that part of the issue for them was they didn't know who their long man was, and so.
And the beauty of Suarez, though, is you don't have to become with Kimbrel and Cano and Coulombe. You don't have to become reliant on him late innings. So if John Means blows up tomorrow and you need a 3-inning guy, he's probably your guy. You know.
Well, and at some point they are going to still have to make it. I mean, I still think it's a possibility they do attempt a 6-man rotation in June because they only have the one off day.
Yeah.
But when Grayson Rodriguez returns, which looks like it's going to be pretty quick based on the throwing program, that they're not going to be able to hoard all of these guys and have none of them pitch out of the bullpen.
Correct.
Even with a 6-man rotation, someone's going to have to be available each time through to come in out of the bullpen. And part of that is Corbin Burns is going to continue to pitch on every – even if you go to a 6-man rotation, Corbin Burns is going to pitch on normal rest through that 6-man rotation.
I would agree with that.
So somebody's going to get skipped in that process, whether it's Irvin – and then the beauty of perhaps using it is you're going to be able to look at teams' lineups and say, hey, are we facing a team that is a predominantly lefty or has a few more lefties? And if that's the case, then Cole Irvin's he's getting that trip. And this week, Dean Kramer's going to have to be available to us out of the bullpen for this time through the rotation. And then the next time.
And, you know, the beauty of this situation with such a dearth of not a dearth, the opposite.
Right,
dearth,
correct.
Plentiful options.
A bounty
is a bountiful amount of options. Is you can go into the postseason with reasonably fresh starting arms. You know, where Grayson Rodriguez, Kyle Bradish are they're not bogged down with having thrown 185 innings. You know.
No, it's fair. And at some point, by the way, Cade Povich looks like he is going to have to be a part of the conversation. Yeah. And in what capacity that is, I still don't know. Like, it's easy to say.
He could end up the long guy when
Bauman's going to go, presumably, for Grayson,
yeah.
right? I can't, unless somebody gets hurt again.
Right.
And maybe that's.
And then Povich might be the guy for Webb, you know.
Boy, you say that, but Webb is, he's pitched well enough.
He's it's an interesting discussion on Webb because 2-3 weeks ago, Luke and I talk all the time. We're texting each other, and we basically.
This is Luke Jackson, of course, not former Oriole Luke Scott. They don't.
Right,
I don't think you guys talk.
No, Luke and I.
Every
we
couple
don't
of
speak
weeks.
every night. Right.
Right.
Luke was over my house last night for dinner.
Just having a conversation.
He had his gun,
a
shotgun.
He brought a deer with him.
Yeah.
He said,
he drove up to the house with a deer. But we talk a lot about, look, this pitcher is in the circle of trust of Brandon Hyde. And the 3 pitchers to me that were not in his circle of trust were Jake Webb, Michael Baumann, and Johan Ramirez.
Yeah.
Okay, those 3 guys. But it's interesting. If they're not in the circle of trust, and we see it, and you can tangibly almost touch it and say he's not a guy Brandon trusts, then all of a sudden Brandon had to use him, and he pitched 2 great appearances
100%.
Against the Yankees. One in which he struck out 3 out of 4.
Went 2 2/3 innings and struck out I think 6 guys total.
Yeah. And you wonder is if the manager had more faith in you, or you sit out
it's
there
a chicken,
in the
you're talking about chicken and the egg kind of
chicken
situation.
and the egg. Is Jake Webb going, well, he's not going to come to me,
right?
All game, and then all of a sudden those nights there wasn't a lot of thinking. There was very few options. So Webb just lived up to what you needed him to be.
It's a fair
and
question.
You wonder if he had more faith that he was going to be used sometimes. And it's one of my things about Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Weaver never had guys that would sit out there and not be used because the fans didn't like them or you didn't have confidence in them. You had to use them if they were on your roster.
It's an eternal question. I can't deliver the answer.
I'm not saying it's an easy.
Yeah, but it's fair. And
But I've been bashing Webb, and then Webb comes in.
And at the moment, I would say you can't.
brilliant.
Webb can't go anywhere.
Right.
Webb's part of. He's in the A bullpen now, right? Like he's.
And remember, the guy that was perhaps the second best reliever 2 years ago now is pitching for Norfolk.
Yeah,
Dylan
Tate.
Tate.
Yeah. I haven't even looked to see how Dylan Tate's been
No,
pitching. I haven't even. I know that Jackson Holiday's bounced back. After
I know
a bit
Griffin's busy with the weather.
Right, correct. He's on top of it, though.
Yeah.
He's on top of it.
How's the weather looking now, Griffin?
Not much better.
Okay, thank you. Dynamite.
Not much better at all.
Dynamite observation. How are you not on TV? How have we not gotten that figured out?
Do you know the weather so well because there's a window right here?
It helps a lot. It definitely helps a lot.
Really goes a long
if I
way.
didn't have a window that I could touch, it
right.
would be a lot tougher.
Remember the little periscope? What's it called? That thing that you look up and you see the mirror.
Oh, I do remember. What is that? What is that?
It's not
called?
a periscope.
No, it's a.
They used to put it in cereal boxes.
And it's there's a comedian that did a joke like everybody else's parents got him a telescope. Mine got me a
right,
and I can't remember what it was. So I'm sorry.
Can you work on that, Griff?
Yeah, get to the bottom of that.
A handheld mirror, is that what?
No,
it's something you look at.
A kaleidoscope?
No,
kaleidoscope turns colors and stuff. Yeah, like that's not.
I don't know what we're talking about.
How was it called?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and we'll end up spending way too much time on that and not enough time. All right, quickly before we wrap up this segment, Austin Hayes looks like he's also on the cusp of returning.
Yeah.
What's the roster move that you're making there? It seems like it comes down to
it's got to be Mountcastle.
Okay.
Mountcastle.
It's a bold choice.
Mountcastle or Rutschman.
It seems like it's coming down to McKenna or Kerstead.
Look, for me, I got to be honest with you. I am not in no way, shape, or form a Ryan McKenna fan.
Mm-hmm.
I just
makes two of us.
Yeah,
I mean, like I'm not. If you're looking for me to defend Ryan,
I mean,
McKenna.
I will say that slide the other night when he had the base stolen.
Sure did. He had it stolen.
Yeah, that almost made me,
This is the problem that I
was really bad.
Even if we get past that, I just don't like. I just don't think there's an argument for him. I get that people are saying at this point, hey.
He's a little bit better hitter than we always gave him credit for.
Okay.
He's got a little pop, and he's right-handed.
But like, when's he gonna? If Austin Hayes is back, when's McKenna gonna play?
Maybe against a left-hander where you sit Mullins for a day here and there, but
I mean that would be the argument of sitting Mullins.
It would sure be. The argument wouldn't be an argument. I honestly think they will send Kerstead down.
Yeah,
because they're not.
He's just
gonna
not
play
getting
him
at bats, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right, very good. Stan is here, and
Dylan Tate's made two appearances. He's allowed 2 runs, 2 innings, in 2 innings.
Right, so he's not banging on the door.
What's the weather like in Norfolk?
They're not using him really. So.
Has the weather been okay in Norfolk?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a little bit further down.
Unfortunately, he can't.
So
his window doesn't tell him.
Like I did look at the radar, and I think most of the rain is in like the Mid-Atlantic.
Okay. Well, it's not. Norfolk's not far from the Mid-Atlantic.
But it's a little bit lower. So
okay, thank you.
I think it might be okay.
Dynamite. Just dynamite.
They're in Memphis anyway, so
it doesn't matter, right?
Not sure what the weather is in Memphis.
It's amazing they knew.
I will say I don't know what the
weather
is.
Still in Memphis because they were in Memphis this week, weren't they? That's where
they play like 6 games now. When they
I thought they went back. I thought that was just post-pandemic. They were doing the 6-game series.
No, it's economic.
They kept doing it, so they're playing the whole week there. All right, fair enough. There you go. There's the
a lot of the players like playing in Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the home of Elvis.
It is.
Right?
Are we doing this now? We doing? You want? John
to
Calipari used to coach at Memphis. What do you got? Keep going. Come on. I want to be the king of Memphis.
Penny Hardaway.
There
you go.
I was
Penny
just
Hardaway.
ready to say.
Sorry.
Did play at Memphis and then returned.
What was
to be the coach?
Wasn't their football team the AFL or whatever? It was the Showboats, wasn't it?
Is that
almost
the AFL?
like the Riverboats?
We look Darren McGavin. We've kind of come all the way back.
Team too.
Pro wrestling legend Jerry the King Lawler is from Memphis.
How about Herbie Mann did the Memphis? He did Memphis a go-go.
Oh boy, yeah. How you going to top that, Griffin? Go ahead. Good luck.
Herbie Mann.
You might want to tap out now.
Zach Randolph played for the Memphis Grizzlies.
Zebo played there.
Jerry West
Most well-known Grizzly.
Jerry West was the general manager of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Was he?
The former Memphis Grizzlies and University of Memphis Arena was known as the Pyramid, and now has been changed into the world's largest Bass Pro Shops. That's a fact.
That used to be the arena? That's
yes.
Why?
Yeah. And if he's by any chance listening, he's going to kill me. There used to be a guy John would know it if he walked in, that worked with him with Ravens Radio. He was a salesman. And he's been around the world, and he sold Memphis Grizzlies basketball,
well, how about
working with Andy Dolich.
Oh, are you friend? You?
And now he's back with the Orioles.
How about that?
And I cannot think he's the greatest guy.
I'm sorry, I can't give you the point unless you come up with a name. I'm sorry, you're going to be out of the Memphis game.
He's a great guy, Glenn. Come on.
You're going to be out. You're going to be out of the game.
Hold on,
now Stan's struggling.
Let me text Colson.
D'Angelo Williams played at Memphis. I'm king of the Memphises. Today's show also brought to you by County Sports Zone, countysports.zone. That's where you go to find out all of the information you need for all of the playoffs here in spring sports season at the high school level, public school, private school. They got all of it for baseball, softball, boys and girls lacrosse. Countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Ravens 5th-round pick Rasheen Ali joins us next. It's Glenn Clark Radio.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
Oh, honey, we better stop for gas soon. Let's pull into that Royal Farms.
Ugh, gas is so expensive.
Nope, it'll be cheaper than you think.
Why's that?
I signed up for Rofo Pay on the Royal Farms app. Now we save 15 cents per gallon at all Royal Farms.
Wow, that'll save us a ton of money. I love you more every day.
Well then, don't get a speeding ticket this trip, okay?
Sign up for Rofo Rewards and upgrade to Rofo Pay and save 15 cents a gallon on gas for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flights Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
One of the things that's definitely wrong with this country is that this dude still has a job somehow, some way. Glenn Clark.
Stan, you got together with Eric Garfield yesterday.
Yes, we did. We did a little bit something different. We did a wraparound of some of the key Oriole prospects, but not real low. You know, we went from Sammy Basayo up to Dylan Beavers, Judd Fabian, and a couple, even Jackson Holiday we poked in on. But then we took a look, which we hadn't done, got Eric's views on who the best prospects are in baseball right now.
Obviously a big week in the prospect land because, of course, the Pirates are calling up the
Paul
top pitching
Skeens,
prospect in baseball, and Paul Skeens.
And the next best pitching prospect is probably the Cubs' Cade Horton.
Okay.
Is very good. And he has a prospect that we really got to keep our eye on. He's 17 years old. He's a Tampa Bay Ray prospect.
Okay.
His name is Brailer, Brailer, Guerrero. He's 17 years old. Guess who he's built like? Derrick Henry.
Oh, well, that is fascinating.
And he hits the ball 110 miles an hour. He's like a monster prospect.
Wow.
He's 17 years old.
Okay.
And is hitting the ball as hard as Giancarlo Stanton.
Wow.
Occasionally.
Yeah, when Giancarlo Stanton hits the ball anymore. Yeah. You can find that show right now, facebook.com/PressBoxSports. Click on the videos tab. Go to youtube.com/PressBoxOnline or PressBoxOnline.com/video. Stan the Fan Charles, Eric Garfield. That's every Thursday. And, of course, every Monday afternoon, Stan, Ross, and Luke get together to be focused more on the Orioles and what's going on in that particular week. So you don't want to miss either of those shows.
So I've found a site that's got the 50 top serial.
You think you've tracked it down?
I'm from 50 down to 31, and I haven't seen it yet.
I just give up.
I've got 30 more to go.
You can't give up.
If it's not in here, then I must have made it up along with Riverboat.
Which
real.
is possible. By the way, happy anniversary to my blushing bride, Mrs. Clark, and I got married.
Who did she marry?
Correct. It's very exciting. I'm very excited for her.
How many years is it?
10 years. 10 years. A decade.
She deserves a medal.
100%. I'm told it's traditionally the tin is the gift on a 10-year anniversary. I did not purchase anything tin. I just didn't think she needed any tins. I thought,
what's the point of getting married?
Yeah, it's a great point if you're not going to celebrate with tin on the 10th anniversary.
I'll give you a great gift on your 11th anniversary.
Okay, yes.
So you got a year to do it.
Yes.
You go to a jeweler and you take a dime and a safety pin.
Okay.
And they solder it together and it becomes a dime. I've got you a diamond pin.
Look at you. Look at you. Look at you. That's
my late father-in-law.
He did it?
And I did it to Jane.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
Diamond pin.
We're doing dinner tomorrow night because I'm going to the baseball game tonight. She said.
Oh, that's lovely.
Well,
so what time are you doing dinner?
No, she said. She said, well, I don't want to go out on Friday. Let's go out on Saturday. And I said, okay. And then I said, well, if we're not doing anything Friday, can I go to the game? She said, sure. I said, all right. So we're not doing anything today. Nothing today. So I'm going to the game. Well, we'll see. I may or may not be going to the game. Depending
is our
on
guest ready?
Not ready.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
This might even be better than the thing that's like a periscope.
Okay.
Number 17. Okay. And this is gifts in a cereal box. Number 17, actual working atomic sub.
Wait, what?
In the early 60s, several varieties of Kellogg's cereals offered small plastic submarines that were called either atom subs or atomic subs, depending on the cereal box. As opposed to uranium or plutonium, these subs were fueled by baking powder, which caused the subs to crash dive into the water and resurface. Collect a fleet of these great little subs and race them. Oceans of fun.
Sure.
That does sound pretty nice.
I was trying to think. I was trying to think to myself if there was ever an actual toy from a cereal box that I used or.
It wasn't a toy. They were like Star Wars spoons.
Ah.
So there was like a little
can't
light
miss those.
in
You
it,
can't
and
miss
then like
those.
the end of the spoon was clear.
All right.
and
So
that would make
here's the question, Griffin. Should we go ahead and do this week in the rest of baseball? You gotta make the call because we're kind of. I've done the padding. We've been padding. So now we're kind of through the padding. We either have to get on to something, and if the call comes in, then we'll just have to pause and deal with it at that point. But we can't just keep padding. We kind of have to do something here at this point. Sounds.
This week,
talk more about Craig Kimbrel.
This week in the rest of baseball is brought to you by Sports and Social, the best place to watch all of the postseason action. That giant media wall, the great food and drink specials, and you're just steps away from the FanDuel Sportsbook at Live Casino and Hotel. It's just the best place. And the atmosphere is always immense because everybody's got action on everything going. They're living and dying over every shot.
You know why Griffin is so great at being there for that?
Oh?
He can give fans the weather.
Right, like he's actually they
help them with their bets.
There's no windows though. There's only the betting windows.
You can walk outside.
Oh, okay.
You can walk outside.
Hey, everybody! It's raining. Factor that in. All right. What happened to the rest of baseball this week, Griffin?
Let's see. There was a bunch of fun things that I think happened. So speaking of the weather, Michael Busch hit a walk-off homer in the first pitch of the bottom of the ninth for the Cubs. The Cubs were playing the Padres. This was Tuesday night, and there was like an impending monsoon almost coming. Like the rain was starting, and the game was tied 2-2, and so the game was gonna have to be stopped. But Michael Busch, first pitch, they were trying to squeeze
hero
it in.
of the day in order
hit
to
one out, and Wrigley Field went nuts. It was it looked awesome because the rain just started pounding as soon as this ball landed, and the Cubbies walked off. It was very dramatic. It was a great moment, in my opinion. So that was.
I'm trying to look at the video now. You're gonna play it on the screen. All right, you go ahead and do that. All right, so everybody's going crazy.
Drilled in the air, right field. Busch has walked it off.
That's from Marquee.
Pitch of the ninth. Drop safe.
I don't see the rain though. Is the problem? As I look at this video myself, I don't.
I guess you can't see the rain. Well,
Yeah, I don't.
It was starting to rain very hard.
Yeah,
I
think you just kind of oversold that part of it a little bit. I'm sure the rest of it is true. I just feel like the video part was kind of oversold a little. That's all. That's
all right. I'm sorry.
You should.
Well, that's why I didn't start with the video because you
couldn't.
I mean, you can never see it. It can be pouring rain. You
apparently
can't see
it was his first ever walk-off home run. So good for Michael.
Congratulations
to
Michael.
Did you get him something? Did you get him some tin? A diamond ring?
Cody Clemens.
I was going to give him one of these cereal
gifts. Once you figure out what it is.
There's a situation where Cody Clemens used Bryce Harper's bat earlier this week with the Phillies.
Okay.
And I think Bryce noticed, and he was like, what's he doing? He's using my bat. Then Cody Clemens went on and hit a home run in that at bat.
Well,
which was pretty cool. And then Bryce Harper using his bat as well, also then hit a home run in that same game.
I think that bat should be confiscated.
You think
so? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if both guys can hit a home run,
you think it's just
got,
a bat?
It's got rubber
then?
balls. It's got super balls in there.
Yeah, right. It's the Sammy Sosa bat. Yeah.
The Phillies did. They did beat the Blue Jays. This was Tuesday that this happened. 10-1. However, they would lose on Wednesday to the Blue Jays, which would snap a 10-game home winning streak for the Phillies. But the point being, it was also one of those 2-game series, Glenn. I'm not sure how you feel about that. The Phillies and the Blue Jays played a 2-game series.
So did any of Roger Clemens' kids end up being a pitcher? Why did I feel like one of them was pitching?
Is one of them pitching?
I don't. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they all.
They could pitch pretty
because
well.
Because the other one. What was the other? God. All right, never mind. I'm gonna end up spending way too much time on Roger Clemens' kids. Who cares?
Kobe Clemens, Casey Clemens.
There was another one that played baseball already that I think already got washed through, right? Because remember when Roger Clemens came out of retirement to pitch for the Sugarland Skeeters, I believe it was.
That's where
his
Kobe
son,
was.
Yeah, his son was on that team.
I believe that sounds accurate just based on how old he is. Casey Clemens. He was drafted as a pitcher.
Okay, all right. So
But
one of his sons.
he
was
never
a
made the
pitcher.
league.
All right,
He
very
never
good.
made-
But
he never
Cody,
made
of
the show.
course, is with the Phillies.
With the Phillies, who are the best team in baseball.
Well, they have the best record in baseball.
Yes, they're 26 and 12. They are a half game ahead of the Dodgers. No, not really news, but Ohtani is still hitting a lot of home runs. But this has some Braves fans are upset because Ohtani has a WAR that is a full point higher than Marcell Ozuna, 2.6 to 1.6. And so Braves fans are mad because they're like, well, he has more RBI than Ohtani, and his OPS is similar, and they're kind of ignoring the fact that Ohtani has way more hits and he plays literally every single day. So Braves fans are just kind of whining about this at the moment.
It's a very bizarre thing to whine about,
It
and I
is.
couldn't
It
possibly
is.
care. Somebody told me that there's a real chance that Shohei Ohtani could end up getting the Triple Crown this season. That I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to that.
Yes, he could. Yeah.
I hadn't.
He's hitting like 360.
Yeah, something like definitely in the 350s for sure. It's an interesting.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard some. Now, I also what was the story this week that the guy your boy the interpreter apparently was wiring money to somebody from the Real Housewives.
Oh my God!
And then I saw another.
I gotta
story.
get that job.
You really got to look into that. And then I saw another story that perhaps somebody's already writing a screenplay based on the story of Shohei Ohtani's.
It would make a great movie.
There's so many elements
Or
of
a
this that would
10-part
just
series,
be
yeah.
wild, man. But I saw something about a screenplay.
Here's the name.
Hang on
The
a second.
Interpreter.
The Interpreter, correct. Hang on. I swear to God, I saw that story going around this week. Shohei Ohtani. All right, maybe that was just somebody saying something on Twitter. Maybe that part wasn't real. But the Real Housewives thing is real. His.
So is Riverboat.
Thank you. Yes, Darren McGavin. I will not be available, unfortunately, to be in the Shohei Ohtani motion picture. But the Real Housewives thing, legitimately, his interpreter was wiring money to a guy who's on the Real Housewives of Orange County.
Oh, it was much sexier when it was
one of the Real Housewives.
One of the
One of
Housewives.
the actual Housewives. I do agree with that part of it. All right, what's next?
Yeah. Well, so sticking with the Dodgers, Yoshinobu Yamamoto threw another gem, but that was not before he let up a leadoff homer. This was probably the best thing of the week.
So you got the video. So was this MLB Network?
It was.
It was MLB Network. If you hadn't seen this was very funny. When Yamamoto pitches, legitimately, there's like an air now of, hey, something special might happen.
Right.
And they were alluding to that on MLB Network. Perfect timing. Really perfect timing for this.
We are already a no-hitter alert. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, before he throws a single pitch tonight against the Marlins, we have a no-hitter alert. Okay. Enjoy what could be a no-hitter from Yamamoto.
You know Jazz swing your first pitch.
Right here on MLB Network for Harold, CY, I'm Greg. We have a no-hitter alert. Enjoy this game live on MLB Network.
Boy,
in the major leagues to establish himself as that guy. Dodgers looking for a 6th straight win and a 13th out of their last 15 after they took the first game 6-3 last night. Yamamoto comes home and off we go, and the aggressive Marlins get a first pitch swing and a high fly ball and a home run for Jazz Chisholm on the first pitch.
So much for the no-hitter. So much for the no-hitter. Was that Amsinger? It was Greg Amsinger. Managed to
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
Spoil the no-hitter right away.
I mean,
he was on a 15-inning scoreless streak as well. Yamamoto was.
He's very good.
Yeah,
he's very good.
Yeah, they ended up winning the game anyway. It was, but yes, it was. That was probably the best moment of the week. And his Japanese rookie counterpart Shota Imanaga in Chicago has also been just as impressive through his first 7 career starts. His first 7 career starts is also one of the best stretches in Cubs history, as well as he sports a 1.08 ERA through 7 starts and has only walked 5 batters through his first 7 starts. There's only been 3 other Cubs pitchers to have a sub 1.15 ERA and 5 walks or less in a 7-start stretch. One of them is a former Oriole.
Jake Arrieta.
Jake Arrieta in 2015. Warren Hacker.
Wasn't that your next guest?
In
Stan,
1952.
I was thinking it was.
Let's try
Fred.
Greg
I
Maddox.
thought it was
Not
Fred
Greg
Hacker.
Maddox.
Fergie Jenkins.
No, way
Ron
further back.
way further back?
1920.
Oh,
Christy Mathewson.
No.
Ty Cobb.
No, not Ty Cobb.
Grover Cleveland Alexander?
Babe Ruth.
I don't know. Was his middle name
Ruth.
Cleveland?
Babe
Grover
Ruth.
Alexander
That
was
Grover Cleveland Alexander, right?
the president. Was the pitcher? for the
No,
Cubs?
he was the guy's Grover Alexander's middle name was Cleveland.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's part of our
It's
Cleveland.
well
things.
known. It's true. Actually, could
The
have played.
pitcher
him.
was Grover Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah, that came from Sarah.
100%.
That stat coming from Sarah Lang.
Grover
by the way.
Cleveland.
From Cleveland?
He was from Elba, Nebraska, apparently, and died in Nebraska too. It's a sad life. I'm kidding. Grover Cleveland Alexander, famously, but it's legitimately his name. That's nicknamed Old Pete and Alexander the Great.
Why
His
Old
nickname
Pete?
Old
I
Peach?
don't know what. No, Old Pete.
Peach.
P-E-T-E. P-E-T-E. All right, that's what you had?
Yes, and then also, since we're talking about the Cubs will be facing Paul Skeens
Yeah, that's right.
and
Tomorrow.
the Pittsburgh Pirates tomorrow when he makes his major league debut.
Is that a national TV? Is there any national
it
TV
might
for
be just MLB TV might make it available because I saw today. Oh shoot, I'm looking at last week's schedule. Hold on. Today, apparently, every game. It looks like all weekend. I'm not sure why, but all weekend, every game is free on MLB TV this weekend.
All right.
So you can watch whatever you want, whatever you would like. Although you need Apple TV tonight.
Yes, tonight you need Apple TV in order to watch the Orioles. Or
go to the game.
Go to the game. Exactly right. Some of us figured the workaround on
In
this.
his 7 starts in AAA, Skeens has averaged 99.9 miles per hour on his fastball, and he's thrown 98 pitches total over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, he's good. I've heard good things.
45 strikeouts in 27 and a third innings. With the
Yeah.
Indianapolis, baseball team.
What do you know what they call themselves?
Yes, I know.
Oh, are they still the Indians?
They
Is
are
that
the
the reason why you want
Indianapolis,
to say that? I do. They are still the
A
Indians.
.99 ERA for Skeens.
It's very good. It's very
Taking
very
that
good.
to the show.
I believe I remember correctly. By the way, again, we're just doing random things. There is an old baseball stadium in Indianapolis. They converted into like an apartment complex, so it's still
baseball.
Like you can see how it's.
Can you get your food at the concession stands?
I don't know if they kept those aspects of it.
It'd be great, like middle of the night, to go down and get popcorn.
This is one of those things that
The
pops
stadium
up.
lofts.
Yeah, it's an old baseball stadium.
Very cool.
It looks very cool.
awesome. Oh
you
my
look at it
gosh.
every time, and you're like, "Wow, I would love to live
They would
there."
have turned Camden Yards into one
Well,
of those.
probably
I mean,
could
they
wait a
play
little
baseball
while
there.
on that. This is what it looks like. That's what if you can pull that up. That's you can tell that's a baseball stadium,
very
and they
cool.
took the concourse and they turned it into apartments.
And
it-
what
it
happens
looks-
if the kids are out in the concourse there and play baseball and break the windows?
Well,
they don't have any right to get upset.
I would.
The
You
people-
chose to move into a
Yeah,
baseball
into a
stadium.
baseball stadium.
Like, what did you think you were getting when you moved into a baseball stadium? Your windows were never going to break. I mean, come on. What did you think was going to happen there?
By the way, the Phoenix Suns have hired Budenhauser.
Mike Budenholzer was an assistant for the Suns years ago, and if I remember correctly, he's actually from Arizona originally. I actually knew we call him Bud. But I knew Mike Budenholzer was with the Hawks, I want to say at the time, when I was working in Phoenix, and badly wanted the job when
the Suns.
D'Antoni was axed and was like texting me every day. Like, dude, you think? No, he was still with the Spurs. I take it back. He was still with the Spurs then. He ended up becoming the head coach of the Hawks. That's what I conflated with. Obviously won a title with the Bucks. But yes, the Suns blew through Frank Vogel after one season. Didn't go well, so who can blame them? And they're going with Mike Budenholzer to replace him. And he is from Holbrook, Arizona. I did have that part right. So look at
That's really nice when your GM trades for Bradley Beal and you get fired.
Hey, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
How about that?
That's what I mean, this is basketball.
They weren't
anymore.
using him right.
They just yeah, that's probably what it was.
They weren't.
Because they wanted him to play. They were like, here's an idea, Bradley. Play basketball.
And not dribbling the ball off your foot in the last 2 minutes.
Right, when you do, be helpful. Just a crazy thought. By the way, last night, both the series ended up the first series to have the road teams win in this round of the playoffs. As the
stunned that Cleveland beat Boston.
I mean, stunned that they won. Even more stunning that they ended up throttling them in the second half.
They were outscored.
Throttled them.
The Celtics and Thunder outscored by a combined 33 points last night, which is the most like the worst combined scoring margin by one seed on the same day.
It's crazy.
In playoff history.
Crazy, yeah. The Celtics get blown out at home, and then the Thunder battled in the second half. Like, they a couple times made it interesting that you couldn't turn it off, and just never really had an answer late as the Mavericks.
And tonight we got the Knicks
in
Indiana,
and back to the 2 games tonight. Yes,
Minnesota hosts the
after a
Nuggets.
bizarre four days off. That series does shift to Denver to see if they have an answer for the Timberwolves and their insane defense. So there you go. That's your NBA playoff update. All right, we'll grab a break. When we come back in, we'll preview the Diamondbacks. Rodrigo Lopez, former Orioles pitcher, Diamondbacks Spanish broadcaster. He's going to join us next right here on GCR.
Hey, O's fans. This Mother's Day, take Mom out to the ballpark as the O's take on the Arizona Diamondbacks on Sunday, May 12th at 1:35. The first 15,000 fans 15 and over will receive an Orioles wristlet. Create a memorable Mother's Day and enjoy all the action and excitement of Orioles baseball. Plus, stay after the game for Kids Run the Bases, when all fans 4 to 14 can run the bases like the pros. Presented by Wise Markets. Buy your tickets today at Orioles.com/tickets.
Craving that classic New York deli experience? Look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore's Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar! Atman's has food and drink specials every day. Now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in, grab takeout, or hang out at the bar for the next O's game. Atman's Deli, an authentic taste of Baltimore tradition since 1915. Find us at Harbor Point or visit atmansdeli.com.
What company makes your home more energy efficient, purifies your air, kills all viruses, and qualifies you for $6,000 in rebates? A.J. Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com.
Whether your focus is luxury and comfort, convenience and technologically advanced connectivity, or sporty performance and aggressive styling, we've got the perfect Highlander for you. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Highlanders from your local Toyota dealer today.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Discover one of Baltimore's hidden gems at Guilford Hall Brewery. Enjoy dinner in our spacious brew pub, sip a signature cocktail in our outdoor dog-friendly beer garden, or take a tour of our brewery. Discover your new favorite local craft beer. From crisp lagers to hoppy ales, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Pair your brew with delicious appetizers and entrees. There are options for the whole family, but you have to try our fan-favorite giant pretzel. Guilford Hall Brewery, where every sip is a celebration. Visit us online at guilfordhall.com.
The latest edition of Press Box is available now. On the cover, Luke Jackson profiles Grayson Rodriguez, talking to people who have been part of his path as the Orioles hope he'll become their next homegrown ace. Also inside, we remember legendary Maryland basketball coach Lefty Drizel with stories from legends like Roy Williams and Bobby Cremins about what it was like to go up against the old left-hander. Press Box is available at over 500 locations around Baltimore, including 60 Royal Farm stores. You can also find the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps at PressBoxOnline.com.
The drug scene in Maryland is changing. Fentanyl and xylazine are being added to street drugs, and you may not even know it. Xylazine is not even intended for humans, and fentanyl is an opioid 50 times stronger than heroin, and contributed to over 80% of overdose deaths in our state. Anyone who uses drugs, even occasionally, is at risk of overdose. To learn more, visit stopoverdose.maryland.gov or call or text 988.
The Ed Block Courage Award Foundation has been working in partnership with the NFL for 46 years to support abused, neglected, and at-risk youth across the country, partnering each team with a children's facility or program that supports the well-being of those in need. Annually, one player from each team is selected by their peers to receive the Courage Award for their inspiration on and off the field. Learn more about how the Ed Block Courage Award Foundation makes a difference, and be sure to check out their latest podcast and web series episodes at edblock.org.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy. when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR. Stan the Fan Charles is in studio with us on a Friday edition of the program. Today's show has also been brought to you by... it's been brought to you by the print issue of Press Box, which is still available right now for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms and the hundreds of locations around town where you find Press Box, and you can read it all at PressBoxOnline.com. You see there on the cover, of course, that's Grayson Rodriguez. Great story from Luke Jackson, diving into what the Orioles hope will be their next homegrown ace. And it's approved by Jim Palmer, as you heard on the broadcast last week. He's a fan.
What did he actually say about the article?
I don't actually know, Stan. I just got a text from people that he was talking about.
He was talking about the article.
I don't actually have that answer, so please don't put me on the spot in this situation. Anyway, what I was saying was Jim Palmer was just giving glowing reviews.
But what specifically?
Stan, I was at bar trivia that night, so I didn't have the audio up on the game, and so I actually don't know exactly.
What's the weather like, Griff?
Yeah, he's on the phone right now, so he can't even give us that answer. What Jim Palmer was saying is it's the best story he's ever read.
It's the cat's pajamas.
That's exactly what he said. Go pick it up today for free at your neighborhood Royal Farms.
I actually went up to deliver him and Kevin Brown copies, and Jim already had one.
Well, so then he said, Stan, get out. I don't need it.
So he said, get the hell out
You
of
think
here.
I don't know about Luke Jackson's Grayson Rodriguez story?
Yeah,
of course
everybody's talking about it.
All right, Orioles Diamondbacks scheduled to open up a series tonight. Of course, weather pending. We're hoping for the best. Joining us now, former Baltimore Orioles pitcher and now part of the Spanish broadcast crew for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A pleasure to welcome back into GCR our friend Rodrigo.
Old number 19.
That's correct. Our friend Rodrigo Lopez is with us this morning. Rodrigo, good morning. It's great to chat with you. It's Glenn and Stan here in Baltimore. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
How are you, my friend?
Thank you for having me.
Everything good? Everything
good. Everything good. Yeah.
Excellent.
Trying to settle in, but everything is fine.
Excellent. So what's going on with the Diamondbacks, Rodrigo? What the heck? They were, they make the run to the World Series.
Cincinnati, though.
There is that. There's that. But why has it been such a slow start in general for Arizona?
Oh well, finally we started playing the way we expected to play. The last 4 games, finally we got a good streak going on, and just on time, just before the facing the Orioles, they are hot. So, but yeah, I believe a little bit of things here and there, but obviously, the injuries have been a big part of the results of the Orioles in the first month and the month of April. We got down Seawald since the beginning of the season, and then a few starters. Merrill Kelly's out, and things here and there. Corbin Carroll, after the great year that he has, he hasn't been able to put it together. Actually, he was back in the lineup for the Cincinnati series, but before that, he was back in the A-hole. So, and at the end, we didn't have the result that we were expecting. But I think we still got time to, recover and at least fight for a spot in the playoffs.
How's Jordan Montgomery been pitching? Is it about right now where should be up to speed and ready to pitch effectively in the major leagues?
He's been pitching well. He already got 4 games. Unfortunately for him, his debut at home wasn't. That probably was his worst game that I've seen him pitch, but other than that, I think he just looked good the way he pitched. Pitched more for contact. He's a guy who can be very efficient as far as his pitching count and stuff like that. So so far, I think he's pitching well. Last time out, he pitched 7 innings, and this is the second time in 4 starts. So I think we're in a good we formed with him. Once we got Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen back in the rotation, I think that's we will be pretty neat on the rotation.
And we're chatting with Rodrigo Lopez as we get ready for Orioles Diamondbacks this weekend in Baltimore. Rodrigo, the other guy that obviously pitched so well a season ago that seems to be off to a bit of a slow start is Brandon Pfaadt,
who's pitching tonight.
Right, who is scheduled to go tonight. Is that a case of, hey, one start can really skew the numbers at the beginning of the season, or what's been going on with Brandon Pfaadt so far?
No, yeah, just like you mentioned it. He's a guy in his second year. He hasn't played a full year in the big league. He did great for us in the World Series. Well, even in the whole playoff actually, but yeah, it's just been the case that there are times where I see he's trying to do too much, but I think it's just part of the maturity that he needs to experience to be consistent in the big league. He got the great stuff for sure, very aggressive with strike zone, and yeah, it's just a matter of a few stars, or maybe one star, and he's gonna be good to go. But the limit, this guy got, really good stuff, and I believe his future is pretty brilliant.
On paper, Rodrigo, obviously, this is, Gunnar Henderson versus Corbin Carroll this weekend. It's the rookies of the year matching up against each other. But as you pointed out, it has been a very slow start for Corbin Carroll. What is going on there? Like, how do you make sense of someone who, again, looked like star of stars in baseball? And I know it's still early in the season, but the numbers are dreadful.
I know. I don't know, is that thing of the second year in the big leagues. I think definitely the expectations for him this year should be pretty high. I don't know if that put too much in his head and trying to do too much. I know he got to work on his approach with the fastball up, and he says he was working during the off season on trying to hit those fastball up in the zone, and I think didn't work at the beginning. Now it's kind of like this domino effect where he started the season in a good form, and a few games they're not, he's not performed the way he expects, and then he become mental, and then he's trying to do too much. So eventually, with the time, you don't even know where you at, what your rhythm. And of course, the other teams are pouring more emphasis in you now, being, one of the key players in the lineup. So all these things together, I think, help for have those numbers. But the guy, the one thing that Corbin has, it seems like it's pretty mature. He understands the game. And I think he's taken the way, the mature way, I believe. I know he at one point, he looks really desperate when he couldn't get any base hits. He couldn't get on base. But now I think he's more relaxing. I think he's been talking with Torrey during, since the last road trip. I saw him talking to him during St. Louis and Seattle. I saw him talking to him during the batting practice in the dugout. So I think little by little he's going to be out of it. I don't know. That's hard to mention it, but something that happened really related to me. I had a pretty good year in 2002. It was a runner-up for the Rookie of the Year, and my second year, the way it started was pretty bad. That eventually put me in the DL. So, and probably I get familiar with that situation where you're trying to do too much, when you feel like you had to be that guy, and it's not the case. This all part of the team, and you one piece of the team. You're not gonna carry the whole team. So I feel familiar with that situation, but I think he'll be all right eventually. Hopefully, continue his good performance the way he did in Cincinnati, continually here in Baltimore.
Rodrigo, I wanted to ask you about a player who was at one time an Oriole farmhand, who they let go of. I guess it was because they were bogged down with the Chris Davis contract or whatever. But the Orioles just, if I recall, Glenn, maybe you know exactly, they just almost like released Christian
More or
Walker.
less.
I mean, he was a fairly highly thought of prospect at one time, and as he got closer to the majors, he sort of fizzled. But he's been a really solid major league player. So my question is, what do you think? What do you think of Christian Walker?
Oh, Christian Walker.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, he, the way we say it now, he is the man. I think he is the guy who I believe that control the clubhouse. That's the guy that's pretty emphatic with the whole team. I think now he's become one of the veterans. I guess at the beginning when he just got the role in the first baseline, once we let Paul Goldschmidt left, I think that was too heavy on his shoulders. But see him with all this time, see how intelligent he is, how mature he is, and just the way his work ethics are one of the best probably that I ever see. This guy works every day pretty hard. I saw him, working on his defense. Obviously, he's batting. He's working on his defense. And for what I understand, this guy is pretty analytic as far as to, get prepared for each game, not just for each series, for each game. So, I don't see why I know he was with different teams, not just with the Orioles. I think he signed with Cincinnati and the Orioles, and then I think he jumped to Atlanta and then ended up with us.
You're right about that. Yep.
So, and you see at that time, there were nothing but good first basemen up in the big leagues. He got Paul Goldschmidt, he got in front, he got Freddie Freeman in front, and Chris Davis here. But the guy is legit. The guy is, one of the key guys that we have. Even with, you probably see months that he hasn't been productive at all, but just his presence in the lineup. The guy played 162 games 160 games last year. So just that professionalism that he carried, I think he is a light example for those kids that are coming up. The way you had to handle the stuff in the big leagues. He, it's too many good things to say to Walker that I think is in the past. I think he would just look for great first baseman, and at the end we got a spot for him once Goldschmidt went to St. Louis, and he's been just the guy that everybody expects.
Rodrigo Lopez with us, just another minute or two here on GCR. Rodrigo, I got to get to the important stuff with you. We need to talk about the real, obviously hero for the Diamondbacks. Of course, the beekeeper. Is there an idea now that maybe the Diamondbacks perhaps have to unleash bees before every game in order to try to get the crowd going and get everybody fired up and have the city embrace the real hero of the day?
Hopefully not. That was something else. We were ready to start a game. Actually, Montgomery was ready to start. He was coming up the bullpen, and then we got this thing with the bees, and I don't know. That was we got the whole crowd in there, and then there were people that getting close to the bees because they want to get everything facility for the specialists wants to get there. So you see the grand crew get the platform close and everybody get too excited. So I expect once the big guys show into the venue, everybody was going to be treating him like a rock star, and it did. So, and also seems like that guy was meant to do that because he just act like a superhero and become viral, I think, on social media, especially, in the game. That was our hero. And that was the only game that we could have beat the Dodgers. So everything worked for him and for us. It was a perfect night for the big guy. And now we got this thing going on in Phoenix with the Bees. So, but, I never see anything like that, but that was pretty funny. At least it was entertaining for us to have to wait for 2 hours before the game, before the first pitch. Yeah.
Rodrigo, we heard a rumor, Glenn and I heard a rumor that was actually you were hoarding those bees, like farming them. You needed some honey. Your wife wanted some honey. Is there any truth to that rumor?
What can I say, Glenn? What can I say?
Hey, and Rodrigo,
I'll keep that between me and my wife.
I got it. Before we let you go, if I could, and I apologize because I don't know. You're a pitcher, and he was working with the hitters, but just from your time in Baltimore, the Orioles just announced last week that Terry Crowley, the Crow, is going into the Team Hall of Fame, and you were around during years, and he was so important to this club in so many capacities. Did you ever have like a meaningful interaction? Maybe when you were, because at the time there was still interleague play, and you did still have to go up and take some hacks at some point. Did you ever have a meaningful interaction with Crow that meant something to you?
Or did you ever play cards with him? Did you ever play cards with him for money?
No, I never was big on playing cards. But with Crowley, just like you say, I was more on the pitching side. But during the interleague games, I have a couple of conversations with him. But always there was a nice guy with me. Even when I have the rough time, probably that was my second or third year. There were times where he was, kind enough to go and talk to me and tell me like, that this part of the game that wouldn't take him too seriously. But there was just small chats here and there because he also was pretty busy. But all those years that we were together as a team, with the team, he was not a very nice guy. So on the airplane, so on the bus, on anywhere, he would always have, a good attitude with me at least, and I have nothing but good memories with him, with Crowley.
Very neat. Rodrigo Lopez, at Rod13Lopez on Twitter is how you follow him. Rodrigo, appreciate you taking the time for us this morning. Thanks so much for checking in with us here in Baltimore.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. That's great. It's good to be back here in Baltimore, and now that I can at least talk to the audience, and I appreciate all this time, and I appreciate all my time I was here, and I want to take advantage of your platform to say thanks to all the fans that were supporting my career.
Very cool.
Thanks so much.
And Rodrigo, we're going to keep an eye tonight to see if the bees show up here.
Yeah, right.
Then we'll know then we'll know you're involved.
It's you, no doubt.
Well, my wife is here too, so.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thank you, guys.
Rodrigo Lopez, former Orioles pitcher, of course, now Diamondbacks Spanish broadcaster with us here on GCR.
He did a really nice job here when he was here. I mean,
terrible
Oriole
teams.
He had 3 years out of 4 where he was like 15, 14, and 15 wins for a team that was really pretty bad. No Ripken, no Musina.
Of course, we all remember in 2014 there was for a minute, there was a great excitement about that team, and part of that was because Rodrigo Lopez was delivering for them. You talk a lot. I know how you feel about Larry Lucchino and some other folks, but as we did bring up Terry Crowley and Nick Markakis going into the Orioles Hall of Fame, yes and yes. Like obviously,
I voted for both.
Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, they're no-brainers.
I'm a big proponent. First of all, Markakis deserves Oriole Hall of Fame. Fame. Recognition. The really interesting one, though, now to me is Buck Showalter. I think there was never any breach of anything with Buck where he disrespected the Angelos family or anything. I mean, Buck Showalter and Adam Jones are.
That is the interesting part. Like, are they purposely trying to stagger it to put
I think it would be great to have them
going
the same
together
season because they were so inalterably linked. I know Markakis and Adam were, but because of the years retired, it's a little bit different, I think.
My kids, by the way, my younger son's wearing 21 and my older son's wearing 10 in baseball this year. So I've had a lot of those feelings of 21-10 Utah Street over the years. I don't remember. I want to say it might have been our friend Eric Arditi who I had this conversation with of like from those teams – who goes in, who doesn't, like, of that era of 2012 to 2016. And I would say everyone through the relievers, right? Like, that's the cutoff. So, obviously, Jones, Markakis, Roberts, Hardy, to me, Wieters, 1,000% is an Orioles Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think Chris Davis is
Chris Davis is an Orioles Hall of Famer. I completely agree. I think Jonathan Scope is probably the borderline of that. But based on what the standard has been for the Orioles Hall of Fame, I think he probably clears that standard. And then
he really had a disappointing sort of wind-up of his
career.
I mean, he's probably,
100%.
32 years old now?
I was going to say 34, but we can check that. And then from the pitching standpoint, Chris Tillman, to me, is an Orioles Hall of Famer.
No question about it.
Zach Britton is an
well.
Orioles Hall of Famer.
Jim Johnson should be an Orioles Hall of Famer.
That's I'd have to look at it a little bit more, but I think that's right on the borderline.
Saves twice, I think.
And then, to me, Brock, O'Day are both, worthy of the Orioles Hall of Fame. Based on what the standard has been for the Orioles Hall of Fame, I think those caliber of players on good teams are worthy of getting into the Orioles Hall of Fame. So, by the way, Jonathan Scope is now 32. You nailed that. Look at that. He's 32. And is playing for the Algodoneros de Union Laguna. Union Laguna.
That's really, I have to be honest. I mean, his on-base percentages were never really great, and his slugging percentage, but I just thought there was a lot there to like as a ball player, and it just ended very quickly.
No doubt about it. All right, we got one more break to take, right, Griffin?
Correct.
Let's do that, and then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and do Tidbit and Tubular just in case we need to move some stuff around at the end, and then we'll make a trip to Aberdeen to chat with Creed Willems. That's the way that the next segment will go. Stan the Fan is here. It's a Friday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Hartford Community College will host the National Junior College Athletic Association's 2024 Men's Lacrosse National Championship and Women's Lacrosse Invitational on May 11th and 12th at Hartford Sports Complex, 401 Thomas Run Road in Bel Air, Maryland. The semifinals on May 11th include the Women's Invitational, with the Women's North A representative playing the Mid-Atlantic B representative at 10 a.m., and the Women's North B representative facing off against the Mid-Atlantic A representative at 12:30 p.m. For the men's championship, the number 1 seed will play the lowest remaining seed in the quarterfinal round at 3:30 p.m. The men's number 2 seed will face off against the highest remaining seed at 6 p.m. May 12th is reserved for the national championship games at noon for the women and 4 p.m. for the men. Tickets are $20 each day at hartfordevents.com or at the gate if available.
The ultimate fan experience awaits you at Sports and Social Maryland. See how we're raising the sports bar with our massive 100-foot media wall featuring 40 HD TVs and a 47-foot big screen. Bet on your favorite teams and this year's biggest events at the FanDuel Sportsbook while enjoying your favorite beers and cocktails, plus our delicious takes on bar food classics. Visit Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland at Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland. Visit Hagerstown.com.
Hungry? With 7 locations throughout Maryland, Glory Days Grill is always right around the corner. They have wings, burgers, salads, sandwiches, and drinks to satisfy everyone, as well as tons of televisions and sound delivered right to your phone. Glory Days is the best place to watch football or whatever your favorite sport is. While you're there, be sure to check out Goose Flight's Lager, named in honor of legendary Raven Tony Goose Siragusa. $2 of every can is donated to the Goose Flights Foundation. Glory Days Grill. Great food, good sports.
Oh, honey, we better stop for gas soon. Let's pull into that Royal Farms.
Ugh, gas is so expensive.
Nope, it'll be cheaper than you think.
Why's that?
I signed up for Rofo Pay on the Royal Farms app. Now we save 15 cents per gallon at all Royal Farms.
Wow, that'll save us a ton of money. I love you more every day.
Well then, don't get a speeding ticket this trip, okay?
Sign up for Rofo Rewards and upgrade to Rofo Pay and save 15 cents a gallon on gas for a limited time. Real fresh, real fast. Royal Farms.
The Toyota Tacoma comes in a range of models and trim lines, so you can choose the perfect Tacoma to reflect your unique personality and driving habits. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new Tacomas from your local Toyota dealer today.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
What company has the expertise to make your home healthier by purifying your air and killing all viruses, allergens, and bacteria? A.J. Michaels, Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis, ajmichaels.com.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
All right, Stan the Fan here with us on a Friday edition of the program. No, not yet, but actually quite soon, in fact. We can go ahead and do this. Tidbit is brought to you today by Atman's Deli. All new Atman's Deli in Harbor Point. It's everything you love about the original Atman's, a Baltimore institution, plus now they have
a bar.
Thank you. And a pickle bar, too, which I love.
A pickle bar.
A pickle bar. It's Atman's Deli. I don't feel like I should have to explain to you why it is that we love Atman's Deli. It's just Atman's Deli plus a bar for hanging out, watching games, making a night of it in a very cool neighborhood in Harbor Point. AtmansDeli.com is the website to find out their daily specials. Yeah, it's you. You do Tidbit. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. The Astros are off to actually they did pick up a win yesterday over the Yankees. They're 13-24, but going into yesterday 12-24 before their win in New York yesterday, which was their worst start in 10 years. And it has been, teams that start 12-24, it has not gone very well for them. There have only been 3 teams since 1901 that have made the playoffs after winning 12 or fewer through their first 36 games. And so any ideas?
No.
1914, the Boston Braves.
I was
Boston
just going to
Braves,
say
right?
that.
I was thinking the Brooklyn Bridegrooms myself.
They went on to, after an 11-24 start, they went on to win the World Series, actually, in 1914.
How about the Hagerstown boxcars?
Flying
No,
boxcars.
not
Flying
boxcars.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. I don't know. Hopefully they don't start that slow. Then 1981. So this was the strike shortened season 2.
It's easy for you to
1981.
say.
Right.
Yeah. The Kansas City Royals, and then in 1989, the Toronto Blue Jays. So the Astros not in good company right now as they continue to struggle.
But they beat the Yankees yesterday
They
with
did. We
Ronel
appreciate it.
Blanco.
That's right. Thank you.
Of Route 66 on the mound.
And, so we appreciate that. And when we got into the war conversation with Ozuna and Ohtani, I want to see how close you guys are paying attention. Can you name... There are 8 players with a WAR already north of 2 this season.
This season?
Yes. Who are the top
Ketel
8
Marte.
WAR leaders?
Ketel Marte.
No.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper. No.
I'll try one.
Shohei Ohtani.
Ohtani is in the top.
I knew
top
that.
8.
Yeah, I was going to go with Juan Soto.
Juan Soto. Ohtani
Yes.
is. They're both tied with 2.6 actually.
Okay.
Tied for 3rd.
How about Alex Boehm?
Alec Boehm, correct.
How many are we supposed to be getting?
8.
8?
We're at 3.
So we got 3 so far.
2.1.
How about Gunnar Henderson?
Gunnar Henderson is an excellent guess. He is top 5.
Gunnar.
Tied with Boehm, actually.
You are killing it. Ohtani, and who was the other one we got? I got Soto,
Gunnar,
right?
Soto,
Yeah.
Ohtani.
How about Mookie Betts?
Mookie Betts, number 1 this season, a 3.0 WAR.
So we got 4 now, right?
Yeah.
Or we got 5?
We got 4. We got 5.
Missing 7 and 8, and you're missing number 2.
Number 2.
How about Morel with the Cubs?
No, not Christopher Morel. He's a very when he's hot, he's hot.
Are there
When he's
any
cold,
pitchers
he's a little
on the
cold.
list?
There are no pitchers. We can
Okay.
do top 3
Very
pitchers
good.
or something.
How about Riley?
No, not Austin Riley. Not Austin.
How about Marcell Ozuna? Of course.
No, not Marcell Ozuna.
He doesn't have a WAR of 2.
Nope. 1.6 is his WAR. Can't
What's he
run
doing
well.
in all the other?
What is
at-bats?
going on there?
What's the weather like in Atlanta?
I don't have the stats. I'm guessing he strikes out probably more than Ohtani. as well.
Julio.
Not Julio. He's also been he's been good, but he hasn't.
How about somebody with the How about Garcia with the Rangers?
No Rangers. There is.
No Rangers.
There is one Ranger, not Garcia. There's one. There's
Marcus Semien.
Marcus Semien, correct, is 7th. And then there is an Astro that is having a good
Kyle
year.
Tucker.
Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker.
Off to a great start. Number 2 on the list, though. We still haven't named him.
Number 2 on the list.
With a 2.7 WAR. 2nd in the majors.
How about Ellie De La Cruz?
Not Ellie De La Cruz. 1.6 as well for Ellie.
How about Salvador Perez? He's killing it. He's hitting like a ton of home runs.
He is hitting a ton of home runs. He's also at 1.6. Christian Walker also at 1.6. A lot of guys at 1.6. It is a Royal, though.
It is a
Bobby
Royal.
Witt.
Bobby Witt Jr. 2.7.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Thank you. That's a great point. I could have been guessing his dad. That's
Can you
a
name
very
the
good point.
top 3 pitchers then? Pitcher war.
Top 3 pitchers.
Tyler Glasnow.
Tyler Glasnow's 4th. We can do the top 4 then.
Let's do the top 4.
Let's do the top 4.
Do the top
Correct.
4.
Tyler Glasnow.
Do the top 4. Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease is number 2, 1.7.
Very good. Very good.
Very good.
Getting out of Chicago did wonders for
Is
Dylan
one of
Cease.
them a Cub?
No, not a Cub. The highest Cub is Imanaga. He is 8th.
Yamamoto.
Not Yamamoto.
No, it's not Yamamoto.
Zach Wheeler.
Zach Wheeler's number 1.
Really?
A
Wow.
1.8
Very
WAR
good.
for Zach Wheeler. Cease is 2.
Is the
You're
other
missing
one a
number
Philly?
3. He is
the
not
other?
a Philly.
No, he's not a Philly.
Ranger Suarez is also very high, 1.4 for Ranger Suarez, tied with Imanaga.
How about?
Yabba dabba doo.
Yeah, right. How about? Well, that guy's not pitching, so it's not
How
him.
about one of the Seattle Mariners?
Ooh, good. Logan Gilbert.
Not one of the. He got roughed up yesterday.
Yeah.
Not one of the Seattle Mariners.
Not one of the Mariners. How about a Tiger?
What's the team that's not
Tariq
really
Skubal.
playing? No, not Tariq
Skubal.
Skubal. We can do the top 5. Tariq Skubal, yes.
Very good.
So that's
actually,
not it.
if there's actually a guy tied with Tariq Skubal, so there's 2 Boston Red Sox.
Bayo?
Not Bayo. He's been hurt.
Oh, Houck.
Yes, Tanner Houck.
Tanner
Houck is 3rd, and then the other Boston Red Sox.
Cutter
is
Crawford.
tied. Yes, Cutter
Crawford.
Crawford.
Very good.
All right, very good. Very good. Tidbit was also brought to you today by County Sports Zone, countysports.zone for all of the latest on both the public school and private school high school sports playoffs this spring. Find it all at countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Now let's get totally tubular.
There is a place where tradition, family, and community gather, where the aspirations of talented young competitors takes root, and where the crossroads of history, culture, and renewal come together. This spring, experience America's newest and most innovative ballpark, Meritus Park in Hagerstown, Maryland, home of the Atlantic League Flying Boxcars. Plan your getaway today. You're welcome in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Tonight at 7 on Apple TV Plus, it's Brandon Pfaadt and Cole Irvin. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock on Masson 2, Ryan Nelson and John Means. Sunday, 1:30 on Masson 2, Zach Gallen and Dean Kramer. Lacrosse this weekend. The women today are on ESPN Plus. Robert Morris in Maryland at 12, Loyola and Duke at 4, Fairfield and Johns Hopkins at 4 tomorrow. For the men on ESPNU, Princeton and Maryland at 7:30. On Sunday, Lehigh and Johns Hopkins at noon on ESPNU, Towson, Syracuse at 7:30. Yeah, sure. Let's go Tigers. I'm with you on that. Playoffs this weekend. Tonight for Game 3, Knicks Pacers, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Nuggets T-Wolves, Game 3 at 9:30. Tomorrow the games are on ABC. Thunder Mavs, Game 3 at 3:30. Celtics Cavaliers, Game 3 at 8:30. And on Sunday, also on ABC, Knicks Pacers, Game 4 at 3:30. Nuggets Timberwolves, Game 4 at 8. And if you're looking for the hockey, you can find it at glennclarkradio.com. You know,
What channel is it on tonight?
Tonight it's on TNT. I think it's all on TNT this week. No, Sunday for some reason is on TBS. I don't know the answer to that, but Sunday is on TBS for the hockey. Everything else, I think you can go to glennclarkradio.com and find it all there. Not a huge weekend otherwise. As we mentioned, the big fight, Lomachenko's fighting on ESPN tomorrow night.
After the Derek Lewis fight, so you can't miss that.
Yeah. Fighting George Kambosos Jr., 10 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN for that. And I think that's all that matters.
By the way, it's not exactly tubular, but we've all seen the TV commercial for the Meritus Park.
Yes, we just
flying
saw
boxcars.
it 2 seconds ago.
Right. The reason the team named, is because they used to build the boxcars in the military in Hagerstown in the 40s and 50s.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Well, how about that? Non-sports this weekend?
Not a whole lot. There really isn't. Yeah, there really isn't anything actually. Iron Claw comes to streaming. It's on HBO Max.
I will give it now. I will give it a
Now you're
view.
going to watch Iron Claw?
Now that will happen.
You're probably upset. John Mulaney presents his show. That's the finale of on Netflix at 10 tonight.
Not been worth watching.
Doctor Who fans, I don't know who is Doctor. Season 14 of Doctor Who on Disney Plus. Those are really the. Maya Rudolph will be hosting SNL tomorrow.
Oh, I love Maya Rudolph.
With
I'm all in on
Vampire
that.
Weekend.
I like Vampire.
You probably woke up really angry this morning, I bet.
Why?
There's a new song out with your two favorite artists, Post Malone and Morgan Wallen.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. Yeah, that one's not going to be for me, dog.
I'm surprised if you saw that you would have even gotten out of bed.
That one will not be for me. Did I say that Nikki Glazer has a new special?
Yes, she does have a special tomorrow night. That's out at 10. Drop at 10.
She was posting videos of her
Netflix
mom
as well.
getting drunk at the Tom Brady roast. It's like, hey, man, it's a nice life to live, being Nikki Glazer's mom, just getting to hang out at the Tom Brady roast with everybody. That's it?
Yeah, that is it.
That
the
sounds
new
like a
episode of The
disappointment.
Sympathizer on a Sunday night, obviously.
I still haven't. I need to. I am caught up on. Dude, if you guys don't watch Hacks, I really enjoy Hacks. I don't know why.
Hacks is a great
I don't know why HBO's never given more of a push to Hacks. Like, it's a really,
I love
really,
the first season. Somehow lost track of it after this is the
This
third
is the
season.
third season,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Jane loves it.
I just got caught up. They're 4 episodes in to season 3.
It's the same girl in it, the young girl.
The girl,
that-
and I don't know. It's
She's
Hannah.
terrific.
Hannah something is her name. So Jean Smart obviously is the comedian.
Yep.
And
Like supposed to be like a Lucille Ball.
kinda,
type-
yeah, right,
type of-
Absolutely, or maybe even a Debbie. Debbie Reynolds more of an actress. Yeah, I think Lucille Ball is probably a good argument.
Yeah.
Hannah Einbinder apparently.
She's related to somebody. She's the daughter of somebody pretty famous.
Oh, Lorraine Newman.
Right.
How about that? Okay. All right. So Hannah Einbinder plays this young
very good
comedy writer.
Very good.
She's excellent. And it's a show that I never spent any time with, but they started running, I think, during when I was watching the final season of Curb this year. They started really doing some push for, hey, get caught up on Hacks before the new season starts. And I was like, I never really spent any time with Hacks. I'll look at it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a really good show. So it's 4 episodes into season number 3, and I've spent a good amount of time with that.
Who plays her boss? The young girls, but like the agent.
The agent?
Yeah, he was very good too.
Hang on, I'll tell you in just a second who plays. Playing the agent is no, that is Paul Downs. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know
He was
much
very
about Paul
funny.
Downs. He is very funny. I agree. It's a great cast.
Yeah.
It really is. The girl that plays the daughter that's the assistant that's kind of crazy.
Right.
She's very good.
And the casino owner.
Oh, right. So that's Shooter McGavin, of course. That's Christopher McDonald, who plays the casino
Is that
owner.
Darren McGavin's son?
Not Darren. Yeah, I don't think that Darren and Shooter McGavin are related. No, I give the big thumbs up to Hacks. That's a very, very good show. Now we reach the nervy moments where we've done everything to line up for the fact that we had a guest scheduled for 11:45 on a day where we've already missed another guest. And saying we've had a really good week. Otherwise, we've had a great week. Nate Wiggins was on yesterday.
We've been batting 1,000.
I
don't recall ever missing a guest on a Friday.
Now we're running the risk of not only missing 2 guests, but I'm out. I've tapped out. I've gone to everything that I was going to go to today. I've got nothing left in me to pad any more time, and we're not even at 12 o'clock yet.
Is there any new news on Craig Kimbrel?
No new news on Craig Kimbrel. Although, as somebody said, a lot of people's theory is, trying to talk him into an IL stint. And if you're going to do that, you would wait until this afternoon to try to do that. I
don't see the use of that
unless he really thinks, and that's one of the things that has been brought up. Who was the Mets GM that got in trouble for the fake IL stints?
Oh, jeez, it was. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy who lost his job.
Yeah,
with he was going to be the assistant to David Stearns.
Billy Epler.
Billy
Epler was suspended for.
Now I don't think we're losing this second guess.
Coming through at the end. He was suspended for fabricating injuries for IL stints.
Yeah,
and so they're not doing that. Like, baseball's made it clear. They're not doing – if the player's not on board with it. Now, if the player's on board, if Craig Kimbrel says, you know what, there is something kind of lingering.
Or it could be a mental,
right.
couldn't it?
And that's the thing about when we had the Grayson Rodriguez conversation. Yeah. They had to make sure that Grayson Rodriguez was on board with that he was feeling the soreness and that they weren't just saying, dude, you're going to sit out for a little while.
Yeah,
because
this will help us down the road.
There can be serious risks to that.
Yeah.
But, if there's Craig Kimbrel and the frustration that we saw the other night is him saying, I need a reset.
Yeah.
I need to figure out what's going on, then maybe that's the case, and they probably wouldn't make that announcement.
He could be the closer for the Norfolk Tides.
For a minute, for like 1 minute. Maybe make an appearance in Aberdeen. Speaking of which, it's time for us to go to Aberdeen right now to chat with a member of the Ironbirds as we wind down for the week. We welcome back in Orioles catching prospect Creed Willems, who's back with us now here on GCR. Creed, it's Glenn and Stan here in Baltimore. It's great to catch up with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Thank you for having me.
Creed, what's been in the water, dude? Like, what are you doing? What's the superstition? The numbers are great to start the season. Did you start wearing like a golden thong or something? Like, what is it that you've been doing that you have to keep doing for the rest of your career now?
Yeah, I think it's just information that I took coming into this season, really trying to challenge myself in like all aspects, and just trying to make sure like we get to that point where it's like we over exaggerate some training that is ungame like, but gives me a chance to kind of set myself up for success.
Creed, we always have known that you've got that power bat. Like, that's obvious that you can hit the crap out of the ball. How much has your work been about trying to make sure you're more of a complete hitter over the course of these few pro seasons?
Yeah, I think that's for me, it's been kind of a big thing. Just trying to allow myself to, get on base more for my team and or whatever it may be, and just I think a big thing that's went into that is kind of getting to the point where I use like all fields and not just try to pull the ball all the time. And so I felt like working on that has really helped out and has made a big impact. So just hoping that we can keep it going and just kind of go from there.
Creed, I know that repeating the same level you were at, I understand what it's like and that you should do better the second time around. But last year, in 276 at-bats, you had 9 home runs. This year, you've got 7 in 92 at-bats. Last year, you had 47 RBIs in 276 at-bats, and you got 23 already in 92 at-bats. And so on. But the batting average, 192 to 283, the on-base percentage, 267 to 337. I know Glenn alluded to what are you doing, drinking what's in the water, but what type of training really did you do? I know you used the term exaggerated training, but, these are like eye-popping changes, and I know some of it is that you're familiar with the level you're playing at, but dude, something's really special with what you did.
Yeah, I appreciate that, but I think a lot of it just kind of goes into the mindset you have. You kind of got to know the situation and understand the situation and know that not every time you need to go up there trying to hit a home run. And I think this year I've really tried to focus on that. You're just trying to salvage every run that you can get and just try to put runs up on the board. And I feel like a lot of the time in the past, it's like I get runners in scoring position. I'm like, I want to try to, hit a home run. And I think that's where I really hurt myself. Whereas this year it's been, all right, we got runners on, let's just try to put the ball in play and get those runs on the board. And I think the mindset's really been a big thing for me, and is really helped me. But yeah, it's just like a lot of the stuff. It's like whenever it comes to hitting in the off season, like training over exaggerated shapes with like lighter baseballs so that you can have a little bit more movement on it, or a little bit harder fastball, or whatever it may be, and just kind of trying to expose myself to those in the off season so that whenever the season comes around, it's a little bit easier to adapt.
Can I follow up with one question? I watched your videos last night, and you are a big boy, okay? I mean, I'm not saying anything you don't know. How much are you attempting to sort of scale down a little bit, but without losing that power?
Yeah, so I've actually lost quite a bit of weight. I mean, I've really been working on that, and I'm down about 10 pounds from spring training.
Okay.
So really working on that. It's one of those things, though, in season, just really trying to focus on getting the proper nutrition and, making sure that we get good foods in and stuff like that, and just trying to, stay on the field and stay healthy.
I ask you that because I'm a pretty good friend of Boog Powell's, and Boog, you know who Boog is, don't you?
I think so.
Played for the Orioles. He was a giant of a man, and they were always on him about losing some weight and being in better condition. And, he told me in retirement, he told me, I wished I had listened to it because I probably would have been a Hall of Famer, not just a real good player who won one MVP. And I look at a catcher especially like Toronto's Alejandro Kirk, and that dude can hit, but he has a real hard time staying healthy.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I think just for me, it's really a really important focus. So really been trying to work on that.
So that being said, what was the most difficult thing for you to give up, Creed? Like now we got to get the nitty gritty, right? Like what was
it's easy for me to say at 240.
Or on the flip side, like what was the thing that like you started eating that you had to be like, oh, dude, I got to teach myself to like this because I don't actually like asparagus or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was probably the vegetables.
Yeah.
That was a tough one, and then a lot of it I think just came from like talking to our strength and conditioning staff and understanding like the like proper amounts of food and stuff like that, and how to like portion it out, and not like eating too much of it, but eating enough of it where your body is being fueled. And I think that was a big thing. And then like in the off season, whether it's, going and swimming laps for, an hour, or, riding the stationary bike or whatever it is, on top of also doing my off-season training, I think also helped as well.
He is Creed Willems, the Aberdeen Ironbirds. He's with us here on GCR, and the Ironbirds are also home this weekend. Teacher Appreciation Night tonight, Bark in the Park tomorrow, and a great Mother's Day celebration. Moms can also run the bases after the game with the kids, so you want to get up to Aberdeen this weekend if you're not headed to the ballpark. Creed, if I could, one of the things that jumps out, like I noticed there's a little bit more, at least on the pace first base this season, than there had been at other times. Like as I look at the numbers, it seems like you've already, this year played 9 games at first base, whereas last year you played a total of 23 games at first base. Can you walk me through? Somebody would say, well, hey, there's a lot of catchers in the Orioles system. You got to show. What has been the thought process in maybe playing a little bit more pace-wise at first base so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it goes into we don't have a ton of first basemen, like primary first basemen. And so we kind of, have guys moving around over there. And then, you have a couple of guys get promoted or get hurt or whatever it may be. So it's one of those. It's like, all right, now you really got to play more first base just to stay in the lineup. And like that's what I really care about is wherever I play, I just want to be in the lineup. And I think for me, it's just one of those, like, it's a good, like, I mean, I don't mind playing first base at all. It's one of those, like, you know, you're not in a squad all game, so it's like kind of a good rest day or whatever it may be, and it's like you get to still, you know, go out there and hit. So, I mean, for me, I don't really care too much about where they might, you know, put me on the field, as long as I'm in the lineup is what I care about.
Hey, Creed, we've talked a good bit about you as an offensive performer. The pitchers that you're catching, I do a weekly podcast with an expert on prospects, and there are two pitchers that he points to, both of from Latin America. One of them is Edgar Portes, and the other is it Luis? Is it Delvey Cruz?
Is Davy Cruz is a lefty?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Hold
Yes,
on. I'm looking for the name. No, it's Luis Sanchez, I think.
Luis Sanchez?
Yeah. What do you see? Obviously, Portes' stats are really nice. What do you think of the two of them?
Oh, I think they're great. I mean, I was with both of them a little bit last year and the year before that. So kind of knew their game. And I think just seeing how far they've come in the last 2 years is incredible. Like, really putting up, you know, good numbers and stuff like that. Like, their pitches have, you know, good life on them, good movement and everything like that. And it's awesome just to see how their pitches and how they just come along in the last 2 years.
By the way, the second pitcher was Moisés Chassé.
Chassé, yeah. So especially for him, like, I caught him a lot the last 2 years.
Yep.
And I mean, it's just crazy that, I mean, last year he was usually sitting around 91, maybe touching the 92, and now he's really running it up there. But yeah, the jump he's made is incredible as well.
All right, Creed Willems. Let me wrap this way, right? A lot of guys you get maybe into like the fourth year of playing professionally, and guys start to feel a little bit of a pressure. I know it's a bit different for you because you came out of high school.
Yep.
You're still only 20 years old. But did you start to feel any of that this season? Like, you talk about all the work that you did in the offseason. Did you start to feel like all right, it's time for me to make my move this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody kind of feels that in a certain way, but I think it's just one of those things that you can't really try to force it. You got to just kind of let it come to you. And I've, you know, experienced in the past, you know, I try to force something and try to do more, and that's whenever things start to go downhill. So I think for me, it's just, you know, taking it one day at a time, making sure that I'm taking care of my work that I have to do each and every day, and just live in the moment. I think that's kind of the most important thing.
I like the sounds of it. He is Creed Willems. Creed, remind me, I know it's Creed Willems 11 on Twitter. What about on Instagram? Where can Orioles fans be giving you a follow?
It is C Willems, and the L's are 1.
All right, so CWI11EMS on Instagram.
Yes, sir.
That's how you follow him. What are you doing for Mom for Mother's Day, Creed?
I'm not sure. I'm probably going to get her some flowers delivered.
All right, good man.
So,
good man.
yes,
yeah,
sir.
Get that taken
And a
care
phone
of.
call. And a phone call, right?
Yeah, right.
Of course, a phone call.
There you go. Creed Willems, hey, congratulations on an awesome start to the season.
Keep up that swing, man.
No doubt.
It is a beauty to watch.
Looking forward to chatting with
Thank
you and seeing how things go, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's Creed Willems, the Aberdeen Ironbirds. Appreciate him taking the time.
You know what I like there? I asked him that question, and some people can get really offended that you ask,
100%.
about the weight
Yep.
and all that. He handled it like a champ.
Nope.
You know,
no doubt.
No offense.
And clearly it's
understands
a
something he's gotta work
priority.
on.
Yep. Clearly that's been the case. All right, at Stan the Fan on Twitter, of course, is how you follow him, and you'll be back in action on Monday.
Be back in action on Monday. Yep.
Appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us this morning,
Always a
as
pleasure.
always. Thanks to Stan. Thanks to Creed Willems. Thanks also to Rodrigo Lopez. We'll get all that up in the greatest hits section of the in the greatest hits section of the. Oh my
God, it's so good.
Isn't it time for Totally Tubular
No, we did
and,
that.
and the tidbit?
We did
of
all
the
of
day
that.
and a bar.
And Griffin apparently fell asleep afterwards. I don't know what happened.
He was working on the weather.
That's correct. Trying to get me an update. Jesus. All right, yeah. Thanks to them. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners. Maryland Jockey Club, Washington County, visit Hagerstown, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, Atman's Deli, AJ Michaels, Guilford Hall Brewery, Royal Farms, the Ed Block Courage Awards, HelpMyGamblingProblem.org, Costa Sin, MSAA, Hartford Community College, Glory Days Grill, the Baltimore Orioles, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com. Thanks to Griffin when he's with us. At Griffin_Bass is how you follow him. Follow us at Glenn Clark Radio, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget tomorrow morning, Paul and Ryan, the bat around 10 a.m. Rita and I will be with you for our very special Mother's Day show Sunday at noon. I know Colton Cowser's mom is joining us. Nate Wiggins' mom is joining us as we celebrate some Baltimore sports moms on Mother's Day. Have a great weekend. Go Birds. Go local lacrosse teams. Duke sucks.